Hello everybody, I'm Antonia and this is Noel and we are from Boxtail Soup Theatre Company and we are in our studio. The studio's had a new floor, which is great because the old floor was very well loved and coming up all over the place.
Yeah, we had to constantly slide bits of board around to make sure there weren't massive gaps.
Exactly.
I cut my foot open actually.
I think you did, yeah. Hazards in the workplace, health and safety, oops. But we're all good now, we've got a lovely new floor, so it's great. And it's absolutely freezing today. The frost on the ground outside is beautiful. It's very Christmassy, it's kind of like a Christmassy cabin. And we've got a visitor, I don't know if you can see it in shot, is the lime tree in shot?
It's just about, yeah.
There's a lime tree in here because otherwise it'll get frostbite, so it's having a sojourn in the studio. Today, we wanted to talk about something a little bit different. We wanted to talk about how difficult it is, but how important it is to give yourself time off when you work for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that it's probably common to all kind of freelancers and people who are self-employed. And I mean, I say that without knowing that for a fact, but I can imagine that it doesn't matter what industry you work in necessarily. If you're reliant on yourself as the kind of driver of that business and the person who gets the work in, then you feel a sense of obligation to take every job that comes along and to get the work done. So any time that there's any work to be done, and let's face it, there's always work to be done, there's always something else you could be doing, you feel like you should be doing it.
And you feel guilty if you don't. And I think that's, for me, certainly, that's the thing that I find the hardest to overcome, is the guilt I feel when I'm not working. You know, because like you say, there's always, when you work for yourself, there is always something, whether it's that you could, I don't know, update a spreadsheet that you've forgotten to update for a little while, or whether it's that you could send a couple of emails to people to try and search for other work. I mean, we're very fortunate now that we have make-in projects who produce for us now. So they book our tours, which is wonderful because that has taken a massive weight off for me particularly, because that tended to be my job. But even then, even knowing that they're doing wonderful work for us, even then, you know, you've still got this sort of always this sense of, oh, I should be doing something else.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in a really busy period, when we're creating a show, obviously there's a huge amount of work to do on making the show itself, and then there's also all the normal day-to-day admin. So when you're making a show, we tend to be very busy, and that means that you might do long days, and obviously at that point, that work, it needs to get done because you've got a deadline. The danger is then that when you're in any other period, or when you're in any kind of break or gap in between, there are still little bits to be done, and it can be tiny little things. It can be little bits of admin or email or stuff like that. And if you're not careful, then you will end up working all the time. Literally
all the time. And I feel like we had a conversation the other day because we felt like really for the last 3 years or so, in a way, we have hardly taken any time to ourselves because of the nature of what's happened. And weirdly, I know for COVID had a weird effect on various different people differently. Some people had enforced time off, and some people had worked harder than they've ever done in their whole lives. And we were in this sort of strange position where we wanted to keep going and we wanted to keep the company active. So we worked a lot during that time. And then over the last couple of years, then trying to get things back up and running, we've had all sorts of brilliant projects and we really haven't been able to afford to say no to anything. We have worked 7 days a week for a lot of the years.
Yeah, I mean, I think last Christmas is a great example because we were doing the Christmas shows in Cheltenham, so we did 65 shows in a very short, however many weeks it was. It was a lot. We were packing in 3 shows a day at times, and although we were having one day off,
there were 2 days off, in a week, but we only took one because.
And even then, we weren't really taking that time because we knew that we had the project in Dubai coming up that we made the big puppets, the giant puppets, the lion and the unicorn for. And we were under a deadline for that, so we knew that we had to get that work done, we had to get the design finished so that we could get straight back in and start building that the second that we got back from doing the stuff in Cheltenham. And all of that is fine. I mean, it's fine to be busy and it's great to have those projects coming in, but it means that you've got to be good at managing your time. not just in order to get that work done in the time that you have available, but also in giving yourself time to rest. Because if you don't do that, actually, your productivity really plummets.
But also,
and you start to resent what you're doing.
Exactly. I think that's the other key thing, that we enjoy what we do. We love our job and feel incredibly lucky that we get to do the job that we love and that we care hugely about. And it feels more like a vocation than it does a job in many respects. But consequently, because you enjoy it, even more so, you end up doing it more than potentially you should. So I think what we really wanted to say to anybody else as well who is in a similar situation, who is self-employed, is take the time when you can. My dad was a good person to sort of tell me that, actually, because he's self-employed, has been self-employed his whole career really, and he said, if you've got some time, you must take it, because it's really important. Otherwise, you stop enjoying what you're doing as well.
And you actually do yourself a disservice. You do yourself and the product or whatever it is that you're making or doing a disservice. You don't help by forcing yourself to work all the time.
It's funny because it just occurred to me, I feel like we're almost using this as, and you'll probably sense it from the way we're talking, it's like sort of therapy for us. That's us kind of justifying to you guys why we're going to take some time off. Because really what we're going to say is that we decided that over the next couple of weeks, sort of until the new year really, that we are going to only answer emails that need answering urgently, and send contracts back that need sending back, and that sort of thing. We're going to take the time off now. We're going to give ourselves effectively a kind of school Christmas holiday. And but even having done that, I feel like you and I are both now trying to sort of justify it, going, well, we have worked really hard, because it's difficult. It's difficult that when somebody else isn't telling you, now is your holiday, off you go.
Of course, and because you're the one who's ultimately responsible for everything going out and everything working, then you sort of feel that responsibility in terms of, well, I could be doing something about it right now. But the truth is that it does help. The second that we kind of said to ourselves, no, we should take a break, I think both of us felt a sense of relief and a kind of release of tension.
And the interesting thing for me as well is that as soon as you sort of decide that, I actually find certain creative ideas start to pop back in my head, and I have the freedom to think a little bit about all that kind of thing, and I get excited about it. So we've got exciting things happening, haven't we?
Yeah, and I mean, that is a kind of plays against what we're saying in a way. But if you, I mean, I can't speak for other art forms or other industries even, but if you work in the kind of thing that we do, then actually, in some ways, you've always got stuff ticking over in the back of your mind. In that small way, you're always working because you are thinking of ideas and you're getting inspiration and you're kind of. So we are now thinking about the next shows that we're going to be doing, but just in a very gentle way.
Yeah, exactly.
In a relaxed way.
And that's what's nice. And we've got our other project that we're working on, which is this Gulliver film, which we will probably talk to you about in the new year. We've got that to a really nice point that makes us kind of confident that then January will be full on with that. So I think, at risk of rambling at you for longer, that is really all we wanted to say. Sorry, it is a little bit of a free-form thought, just splurging out vlog, but we just wanted to say how we felt about this whole issue of taking time off when you are self-employed, in case it resonated with any of you out there who probably have, potentially have a similar work life. We thought we would share our thoughts, and thank you for the therapy session.
It's important to take a break.
It is important to take a break, and that's what we will be doing. If you have and are enjoying... Oh, just one very quick thing though. I just wanted to say, anybody who came to Twickenham last weekend, or anybody who sent anybody along, I spoke to quite a few people afterwards who had been sent by people, and people who had, obviously come themselves. We want to say massive thank you. We had some lovely shows.
Yeah, they were really nice.
And it was wonderful to see so many people, and to have, pretty much the whole audience, certainly for Christmas Carol, come up and say that they'd been either recommended by someone or who had seen us before. And honestly, that is the most gratifying, most complimentary, humbling, wonderful thing. And so thank you very, very much. If you are enjoying the vlogs, please do give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, subscribe to the channel. Welcome, as always, like I say, to the new subscribers. And we will see you again next time.